All right, welcome back. We got a weekly stock market update, and we're going to start off by looking at our weekly heat map. We've got a pretty red heat map here, but there were some big movers here. The semis are killing it. NVIDIA crushing it. NVIDIA all-time high, $4 trillion market cap, largest company ever. $4 trillion, that's larger than I think all of the UK's economy. I think the UK economy is like $3 trillion, and NVIDIA is greater than that. So pretty unbelievable run this company continues to be on, and congratulations to all the NVIDIA shareholders out there. Some of the losers this week, we've got financials down a little bit. You've got names like Netflix down, you've got Meta down, Walmart down, Tesla down 1%. But really, when we look at the market, it was a pretty flat week here. So S&P was just up 0.19%, NASDAQ same 0.18%, so pretty flat week. Gold was up almost 1%, and also the big winner this week is going to be crypto land. Bitcoin up 8%, Ethereum up 15%, and you're seeing a ton of money flood into these smaller coins. If you watched my crypto update last week, things look good here. Things look really good for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and if that's the case, these other coins will likely continue to catch a bid, but that's a message for another video here. So let's go ahead and look at the charts here. So S&P, just choppy week this week, didn't do a whole lot, just chopping sideways. We did breach all-time highs again on Thursday for the S&P, and then also the NASDAQ. I believe we hit all-time highs Wednesday or Thursday. But just chopping along here, not a whole lot to talk about. Consolidating, waiting for earnings, waiting for rate cuts, no rate cuts, but market just chopping sideways here, which is nice. We've had this big move up here. We need to consolidate, maybe pull back, and then we'll have room to make our next move up whenever that comes. NVIDIA, let's take a look at it. Just what a great move this company has had since the tariff low. I think it's up 60-70% from the tariff low that we had over here. The target I have for NVIDIA has been $5 trillion market cap, and that is looking like a stone's throw away here. So I believe that's about 24% from where we're at right now. So they report earnings here in about a month, end of August. They're one of the last companies to report earnings. I expect great numbers out of them. What we're seeing with AI, we'll talk a little bit about some of the new AI stories that we got this week, but things are not slowing down at all, and things are improving at a rate that is astonishing. So very exciting stuff for NVIDIA, for AI, and just technology in general. Amazon here, pretty flat. We're getting close to a little bit of a breakout here, and once we break through, I think we're heading back to all-time highs for Amazon. Tesla, a little bit of a recovery this week. Boy, this is a ugly chart. We did have a big drop on Monday, and we had a flash crash this morning on some tariff announcements, which was pretty interesting to see. Everything got bought up really quick. Some other names to talk about. I don't think there's anything else really worth talking about individual names. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. All-time high, 118,000 for Bitcoin. Just a huge move here this week. My next target for Bitcoin has been 160, somewhere in there. Had this box drawn up here for a while, and that is also looking very plausible by the end of this year. I believe that gets us another 30% or so to get up to that box in the 160. And that'll make Bitcoin worth more than I think all companies besides NVIDIA. I think that'll put Bitcoin at around $3.5 trillion market cap if we can get up to that 160 range, which to me doesn't sound out of the question since Bitcoin is a global asset. Let's take a look at interest rates. Gold and oil, not a whole lot to talk about this week. Volatility going down. Little pop back up here towards the end of the week on the tariff news. We're getting a little bit more tariff threats and retaliation for tariffs. But let's take a look at interest rates. 10-year yield making a move back up this week. So we will see. We're really just Down 1 week, up the next week, chopping along sideways, not really going anywhere. We're still just trading in this pattern here. So not breaking out one way or another here, but just holding steady on the interest rates. I think that's about it for individual names. Let's go ahead and look at some of the news from this past week. So we talked about NVIDIA hitting all-time high. This week you had Grok 4 launch, and there was some controversy earlier in the week with Grok 4. But once people started using it, it's a great model. And the metrics for this model are through the roof. The smartest model, PhD level across the board. And what they're doing is pretty interesting on how they're using their, I believe it's called Grok Super Heavy. They're using AI agents to search 4 queries at a time and then combine those together and get the best answer. So it would be like asking ChatGPT the same question 4 times, and then they combine those answers to get the most compelling answer for you. So very interesting. To me, what's so interesting about this is that XAI was late to the game. They started way behind on versus ChatGPT, Gemini, Meta. All these companies had a huge head start, and they started XAI. They built the largest GPU super computing cluster in Memphis, and they have the highest amount of compute available to them, and they're already now in the lead. So ChatGPT will have their new model come out this summer. They'll leapfrog XAI, and then Gemini will release a model. They'll leapfrog them. So we're just playing this game where everyone just keeps hopping in front of each other, and the speed and the rate of change here is just unbelievable. And to me, that's what's so exciting. Also, when it comes to Grok, Elon Musk confirmed that Grok integration into Tesla vehicles next week. That's going to be interesting to see how they pull that out. I was talking with a client today, and he said, yeah, your Teslas are going to be like real life Knight Rider. So I thought that was hilarious, but it's going to be interesting how that is implemented into Teslas, and we'll see what happens there. Another case with AI, just anecdotal evidence. I've been using full self-driving for the last few weeks, and it is unbelievable. I had it take me on a drive about 1 hour and 20 minutes each way. I had 0 interruptions, and I'm a little concerned because it's a better driver than I am. And I don't think I'm a bad driver, but it did everything that I would do, and it was a very peaceful drive. I had to go through rush hour traffic. I had a lot of merging through highways, getting off highways, merging through, and it did a just phenomenal drive. So again, AI is really advancing, and to me it's exciting. So a lot to come there, and you see that in the NVIDIA stock price. The market is reflecting that. This is not slowing down. We're still at the very beginning, and with XAI, it shows whoever has the largest compute is going to be the leader and potentially the winner here. So the whole DeepSeek news that we had, where DeepSeek wasn't using GPUs, supposedly wasn't using GPUs, that's all behind us. Everyone realizes you need to have a ton of GPUs, a ton of electricity to run your models, to run your network, and whoever does that will have the strongest, most capable AI. So we're back into that camp. As far as tariff news, we had some Canadian tariff news this morning. New 35% tariff on Canadian imports effective August 1st. So we'll have to wait and see if that holds and what's excluded. So I think the market is shaking off tariffs quite a bit, as you can see from the wicks that we got this morning on some of these stocks. We get a large wick in the morning. Oh, tariff news, Tesla down from 310 to 290. It's instantly bought up. And that was the case for a lot of companies this morning. You had these huge wicks to the downside, and the market says, oh, we're reacting to tariffs again. We don't want to do that knee-jerk reaction, because we already saw the market go down 30% and then go up 40%. So I think the market realizes that the tariffs is a lot of just talk until it's actually implemented and wrecking the economy. It's not as scary as it once was, especially since this is our second, third, fourth time through this. Next, we've got earnings season kicking off. So we did have Delta this week. They had really good earnings. All the airlines had a nice pop this week. Next week, we'll have the banks. And then after that, we'll get into some technology stocks within the next couple of weeks. I think Tesla is within 2 weeks. Netflix next week. So those will be the names I'm looking for in the near future. And I think the banks will have good earnings, but who knows? It'll be interesting to see what they say about the consumer and lending. So that'll be what we talk about next week on the wrap up. And then, we're looking at more AI news and more tariff news, what happens there. But other than that, I think technology is ruling the week with NVIDIA, AI, Bitcoin. We're getting all-time highs across those areas right now. So exciting stuff. Everyone enjoy the weekend. It's super hot here, so I hope everyone stays inside and relaxes. That's all I got for you this week. Congratulations, NVIDIA Bitcoin holders, and everybody who's an AI user. Congratulations. That's all we got for this week. Peace out.